Hello, my name is Alan. I use he, him pronouns. And this evening in my time, I'm facilitating a session of Night's Dark Operators. This is my hacking together of bits of Cthulhu Dark, bits of the Operator cinematic role-playing system to play a rules-light game in the world of Night's Black Agents. And you can find all the stuff about those games in earlier, you'll find some of the stuff about that in the blurb attached to this video. This game is organized as part of the Gauntlet RPG community's monthly games calendar. We are an international group of tabletop role players playing online. I suppose more towards the indie narrative story game end of the spectrum, but not entirely. If you don't know about the Gauntlet, I would encourage you to look us up on the internet and search Gauntlet-RPG, and you'll find us and what we do. You know, if there is a Patreon attached to the Gauntlet, if you wanted to back the Patreon that the community has, then that Patreon goes to supporting not only the kind of technical gubbins behind the monthly calendar that we have, but also supports podcasts and our monthly zine, or bi-monthly now, I think, the Codex. And we also have a publishing arm. You know, if you've come across Trophy or Hearts of Wulin, those are being published by the Gauntlet, or by the Gauntlet's publishing arm, I suppose, technically. So this is in the world of Night's Black Agents. So we are dealing with a vampire conspiracy and its venal human pawns, or perhaps almost human pawns. I'm scaffolding this series as I did a previous series using the Zalozhny Quartet by Gareth Hanrahan. I've lifted some of it whole cloth. Other bits have gone the way the players have played it, but it's a great kind of campaign setting for Night's Black Agents, so I'm using it. I think that's all I have to say at this point, apart from mentioning we are playing with some safety tools. The players are the same players who've been in for this series, so I'm not going to rehearse the details, but we are playing with the X card and with lines and veils. But I will say to the players, if they want to update those lines and veils, I will check in a bit just to see where we stand on those, and I might just rehearse them for us all before we start play proper. And we're also playing with an open door. If something goes on in the real world and a player needs to step away from the virtual table, that's fine. That's what the open door is for. And we're playing within the Gauntlet Code of Conduct, which is a broad framework to encourage what I think is a fantastic table culture among the Gauntleteers. So I think that ticks all the boxes on my introduction. Let me move swiftly on to ask the players to say hello and introduce their characters. Can I start, Puckett? Can I ask you to say hello and tell us a little something about Mia Smith?
Hi, I'm Puckett. I use he, him pronouns. Today I'm playing Mia Smith, who is an ex-CIA hacker and maker of interesting party favors, particularly ones that vampires would find less than desirable.
Which tells us all we need to know about Mia, really. Hacker supreme and tech wizard. Moving on, Sabine, say hello and tell us something about Dylan Hepst. You are muted. You are still muted, Sabine. Can you hear us?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Now you're not muted.
Oh, okay. I did unmute myself. At least that's what the little microphone down there said. Oh well. Yeah. Hey, I'm Sabine. I use any pronouns. I'm playing Dylan Hepst, who is BND, former BND operative who used to work as mostly kind of a honey trap to get blackmail material on people who were well, who didn't want certain photographs of their sexual misconduct, or what they viewed as sexual misconduct, proclivities is probably the better word, to reach their spouses or superiors. He got away from that, and then started to get invested into hunting vampires. I'm really not sure how that happened. Neither is he, but it kind of, yeah, well, it's a thing now. And it kind of, I don't even know how it keeps the bread on the butter or vice versa, but it kind of does. And also, he couldn't really go and be a accountant or actor or something like that. That would be too boring, right? Yeah, it would be. Also, he has a lot of hats. He likes hats. He will often compliment whatever ensemble he wears with a hat that fits the whole personality he's presenting.
My feeling is that he chooses the hat and then chooses the rest of the outfit to complement the hat. But that might be just my...
No, he first he chooses the role. Who is the person he's impersonating? Then he chooses the hat, and then he chooses everything else.
Great, thank you. And finally, Josh, say hello and introduce us to Dimitri Korsakov.
Yeah, of course. I'm Josh. I use he, him pronouns. And I am playing Dimitri Korsakov, who also uses he, him pronouns. Dimitri is a Russian defected spy. He was a field analyst for the FSB. He was pushed out of the agency after he realized that the existence of vampires was a thing and not just, folklore. And he currently has just sent a elderly man off to America with his granddaughter, and nothing but hope and of the false promise of the CIA being on their side, which he feels bad about, but he feels better about it than leaving them in Vienna to be killed by vampires. Yeah, right now we are in we're at the field outside of Vienna, or possibly already heading to the bank. He has encountered the Count before. He knows that it is not a good idea to let this safe deposit box, fall into Simon Throndall's hands. And he is willing to, break some laws and engage in international espionage to do so.
Because bringing out conspiracy is what this is all about. And so just to fill in some of those details, yes, last time the team successfully extracted an aging Soviet spy and his granddaughter, who he was worried about, and shipped them off to the US. Of course, Yuri Arkansky, said spy, believes that he was extracted by the CIA and is about to land in Langley to a hero's welcome. Whereas in fact, we know that he is being landed in a backwoods field in Kansas, where all he has hopes of meeting is a federal immigration officer. It seems no doubt that the clock may well be ticking in terms of him realizing that he may be safe in the States, but he's not safe with the CIA. And that clock is ticking for the point where he actually makes direct contact with the CIA. So there is some time pressure on the team with that respect, because it is possible the CIA may come looking for who's pretending to be them.
One question for Mia: are the vampires in the CIA, or is that a werewolf outfit?
I mean, I'll put it to you this way: it is at most undercover. They keep it under wraps. There is no official program that I am aware of for either lichens of whatever form or the undead.
It is fair to say that when Mia was a teenager, her mentor show did actually reveal that there was a shadow organization inside the CIA, but its exact purpose, I think, was not determined at that time. And I've always wondered whether the reason Mia went into the CIA was to follow her mother and father, or because Show wanted somebody on the inside. But that's for another game and another time. And so before he left, Yuri Arkansky, he promised the CIA that he had something really important that they would want. And so he handed that really important thing to Dylan Herbst, thinking he was because Dylan was pretending to be the head of the CIA cell involved in getting him out, claiming some multinational link. But yes, that was a bronze, a very old bronze pendant that Arkansky wore, which had on one side the engraving of what may well have been a set of, well, I think let's say it is, a set of vampiric fangs. But on the reverse of it, it had some sat-nav coordinates using a Soviet-era military sat-nav coordinate system. And what I'm going to say is that since leaving him or seeing him off on the plane, seeing him smuggled out of the country by a contact of Dylan, I think, the team have tracked down those coordinates and found the oldest rowan tree in a copse of woods outside Vienna. Rowan in my version of this setting is the wood that is particularly dangerous to vampires. It's what you choose to make your steaks out of if you want to make steaks. And buried in the roots, about 3 feet down under the roots of that tree, is a small, wrapped up in some oilskin, is a small strongbox, broken open. And inside there is a copy of the first page of a passbook, a kind of bank identification book for Erste Bank in Vienna, a private bank in Vienna. And that passbook is linked to safe deposit box 1247. And it is in the name of Kim Philby, which to all of the operators, given that they have an espionage background, will ring a bell. Kim Philby was one of the spies, the Russian spies within British intelligence in the 50s and 60s, who defected to the Soviets in, I think, 1961 in Philby's case. He hung on after two of the others ran early. Subsequently, others were discovered in the ring. But quite what he has to do with all of this, we don't know. The other thing that is clear, Mia is very good at checking social media and just keeping abreast of what's going on in the locale. And on the day that Yuri Arkansky went missing, which was about 36 hours before the team saw him off on the plane, Erste Bank announced it was subject to a surprise but very generous takeover bid by the Black Sea Bank of Odessa. Now, two of the characters spent some time in Odessa in the first series linked to this one. The business pages suggest that the bid is backed by millionaire businessman, playboy and philanthropist, Count Simon Throndal, which is the Throndal that Dimitri mentioned, that Josh mentioned. Dimitri came across and saw him take out an entire CIA extraction team with his bare hands. He is clearly a potent vampire. He seems to have bought a significant minority shareholding in Erste Bank, and the bank's board intends to recommend acceptance to its shareholders. So this bank will shortly be owned by the Black Sea Bank of Odessa. Previous intelligence gifted to the team by an admirer or supporter, not quite sure what his nature is, links the Black Sea Bank to Lisky Bratva, that's Russian mafia, and therefore vampire conspiracy, money laundering. So there are two clocks I would suggest ticking. One is the clock that sooner or later the CIA are going to realize that somebody was pretending to be them, something I think the CIA do not respond well to. And also, shortly, the vampire conspiracy may well own the bank in which the safe deposit box that Yuri Arkansky was being threatened with kidnap to get. So that is the setup. Yeah. Now, the way this game works is that I will now ask each of the PCs each of the characters if there's something cool they want to be seen doing this session. So let me go in reverse order. Let me start with what would we like to see Dimitri doing in this session?
I think I want to see Dimitri unlock that safety deposit box and, pull the little drawer out and have that beautiful shot where you open the lid and see what's
and
inside.
Just hope there's not a really kind of bright light that issues from it. Yeah, okay. Unlock the safety deposit box. Yeah, I like that. What about Dylan? What is it that Dylan wants to be seen doing in this episode?
I'm not sure, actually, because maybe, I don't know, maybe he has to shoot somebody, because we've seen him do the social stuff all the time and he's very good with this. Put him in a situation where he has to actually get his hands dirty a little, maybe.
Yeah, I put perhaps he needs to get his hands dirty. I've put in the keeper. And finally, what about Mia? What do we want to see Mia doing this episode?
Quick question, if I may. You mentioned a clock about the CIA finding out that somebody's pretending to be them.
Yeah.
What action would we, if we're aware of this, what action would we anticipate the CIA taking in response?
I think that based on your previous experience with the CIA, you were in signals intelligence, so where you would have picked up evidence that someone was masquerading as the CIA, you would expect to see the local CIA station, the Vienna station in this case, the Austrian station based in Vienna. You would expect to have them use their resources to try to track down these people pretending to be the CIA and bring them to book.
Okay, so that actually gives us an opportunity to play CIA and the conspiracy off against each other.
I couldn't possibly comment.
This is just Mia thinking aloud about how it might not be such a bad thing. Maybe the CIA could stop ignoring it then.
It would complete the set, given that Mia did manage to crack the Russian embassy codes last time in order to play the FSB off against the vampire conspiracy.
There are two things I can think of that I'd like to do in this session. One, break into the CIA systems, which actually shouldn't be that hard considering I'm a former SIGINT person for the CIA. And also, I want to make a nifty little gadget for Dimitri to carry in just in case Throndal shows up. Because I'm a little annoyed that my UV grenade didn't quite do the trick last time. You're muted.
So what I'm saying is break into the CIA systems and/or create something that will kill a vamp. ...
Precisely.
Okay.
I don't have to mention that I really would like Dylan to don a disguise and be somebody else, right? Because that's what he always does.
That's what he always does. And to be honest, it seems to me that we've seen of those two. I think that it is create something that will kill a vamp is probably what we want to see Mia doing, which is novel. Yeah. Because she tried the UV grenade and it did some harm, but not critical harm. So so the next step in our preparation for this is I will ask each of you how you want to gather any intel in advance, but it might be that we want to be clear what the objective is first. So what is the objective of this operation? Talk among yourselves.
Has to be to get the box, right?
I think that's our primary objective, with secondary objectives being kill Throndal and get the CIA on the vamps.
Yeah, I would say primary objective is get whatever's in the box. Yeah, that makes sense. Bucket.
I mean, it sounds like we would cross paths with Frondal anyway, because he's after something in the Erste Bank, and I don't think it's Sachertorte, really.
And this is why I want to make sure Dimitri's prepared for going in. I mean, I'm tired of Throndal. He's bored me, and there's nothing worse than boring me.
Yes, he's quite, I don't know, I think we've seen enough of him, so we can end him now. I mean, he is nice looking, you have to admit that.
No, I don't. He's pale. He needs a suntan.
Yeah, well, but look at him. It's kind of cute.
He is classically good looking in the way that vampires ought to be.
I'm not saying we should spare him for that. I'm just saying.
Dylan, when this is over, you and I need to go hat shopping. We need to talk about your taste in men.
And of course, we mustn't forget that the other antagonist that is, as far as we know, still in play is our friend Dr. Dorjiev or Dubois, depending on where he is in the world, who seems to be operating as Throndal's aide-de-camp. So we mustn't forget about him, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, but we can just off him if we meet him because he's not cute. And I'm not. I mean,
I have to say, if we have time, like if somewhere along the way we can work this, I feel kind of bad about dumping Yuri and his granddaughter in the middle of America with nothing. So,
isn't that the American dream? Work yourself up.
For a man at his age. No. I mean, I want to see if we can at least set them up. Like, I'm sure I can do something with like title documents to a house and get them some money in a secured account someplace and set them up that way.
Well, let's be clear. Epilogues are epilogues. That's what they're there for, to tie up loose ends. But in terms of the objective of the operation, I've written down, get whatever is in the safe deposit box. Yeah?
Yep.
I find that is a bit more important than going to the US. And I find that is a bit more important than going to the US and setting Arkansky up.
Yeah, I think that's true. Because you could just get on a plane now and let the conspiracy buy the bank with something that Yuri Arkansky seems to have guarded for most of his professional life. Or not. So get whatever's in the safe deposit box is the core objective. That's how this operation would be judged. With that in mind, and with the things you want to be seen doing in mind, can I ask, let's start with Mia. Let's go back the other way. Mia, what kind of intel gathering do you want to undertake, or what kind of prep do you want to undertake?
I want to go parts shopping.
Well, I mean, the way you normally do that is through a contact. So which contact? Because you can call on a contact for free once in the game. So the logical way to do this would be to find someone who's likely to have access to the parts you want.
And it is somewhat specialized hardware. So, and we're in Vienna, right?
We are.
Yeah. Jurgen.
And what expertise does Jurgen bring to the table?
Jurgen has helped me out in the past with finding unusual hardware, whether it's microprocessors, alloys to build something, tools, other materials. He's socially awkward, and it gets a little sticky dealing with him sometimes. We tried to have a thing a while back. Didn't go well.
I mean, because that sounds like his background is in criminality, because the description of a criminal contact is they can provide stuff.
Yeah. He was never he was a black hat hacker.
Okay. Well, I mean, let's be clear. There is an opportunity to have a contact who is a hacker. who cracks
Yeah.
systems. But I don't think that's what you're after here, is it?
No, that was he did that as a hobby, more or less.
Okay. So so you're going to call him Jürgen, is that right?
Yeah.
So if you can add him to your character sheet, because now I think I'm right in saying that each of you has a contact in play. And of course, once you make use of a contact, then they are added to the conspiracy target list. So they may end up at the rough end of conspiracy meeting. Once they are, that's complicated. But for the moment, he's Jürgen. He's a criminal who can provide stuff. What kind of stuff are you wanting? Where do we see you meeting Jürgen?
He's got a warehouse on the edge of town. It's out in a kind of district where the police don't usually go because there's nothing really out there. But when you go, it's that scene where you go through this unmarked door and there's this little office, and he says, "Oh, come to play in the toy shop." And you walk into this warehouse and he flicks the switch, and then all of a sudden, in sequence, the lights overhead go on, and it's that chunk, 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 and you just see more and more and more stuff.
So, I mean, you chose the safe house to have tech toys. What specifically are you hoping he's going to have in stock?
The safe house has tech toys. That's where you got the UV grenade. It does not have more high-powered stuff, because basically what I want to do is make a UV bomb.
Okay. So this sounds like so the way that call and contact normally works is you would mark stress. This is your free use, so you don't have to mark stress. To describe a scene or flashback involving a named local contact who grants you fictional positioning that helps you overcome an obstacle. This includes the only way to try again, blah, 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 blah. They can't solve a problem, but they can provide you with the means. So yeah, I'm very content now for you to have available in your collective inventories a UV bomb. Yeah. And the difference between it and the flashbang is this the UV lasts, because the trouble with the flashbang was it went flash and it burned Throndahl, but it didn't subject him to that high intensity UV for long enough.
It's the difference between a fragmentation grenade and basically building a full-on explosive device, but with UV. Okay. So it is sustained. It is more powerful. The area of effect is larger. It's not quite a bomb that you would drop from an airplane, but this is absolutely a bomb that you would use, if it were explosive, to take out a building.
Oh, now that's quite a lot of explosive. Now this was going to be man-portable, wasn't it?
Yep, basically in a briefcase.
So I think if it's that powerful and that dense, can you add somewhere in your notes, let's call it a UV satchel charge, and let's have it, I think it's going to be equal to 3 equipment slots, because that's a lot of potency. And you can argue, that there is a single one of these things, and it is available to whichever one of you chooses it first. Yeah, because that's the way this game works. Okay, so you have got that, and I will mark up the fact that you have used your corner contact, and Jürgen has provided a UV satchel charge, 3 equipment slots. Okay. That you're going to struggle to slip that underneath your dinner jacket, Dimitri, I have to say. But I'm sure we'll come up with some solution to that. Okay, so that is how Mia is prepping. Dylan, what do we see you doing in preparation?
In preparation, I would first like to grab Dimitri and talk with him about how we're going to get in there and who we are pretending to be. Because I think it should be the two of us. Like, maybe you can be the kind of rich banker, oligarch or something like that. And I could be your personal assistant. Is that cool with you?
Dimitri is happy with that arrangement. He'll pretend to be an oil baron or something. Coming to open
Russian.
out of country account.
Okay, then I can go and set up the. Oh, no, wait. One of us has to take care of the egress. And I think since Charles had to fly off, I don't know why, to Hawaii or something, I think
yes, we should explain, shouldn't we? No, we should explain that the fourth character in the team, Charles Dreyfus, has been having some domestic issues with an at-risk fiance, and so he has ducked out. He feels he's done his job. He got you into the airport and got you out of the airport with Yuri Arkansky and his granddaughter, and therefore he has to go and look after James, his fiance. So they have jetted off to some secret safe house where the conspiracy won't be able to get them until the next series. So just to draw a line under that one. Sorry, Dylan, you were saying.
No, I think what I want to do is first off look at the bank. Maybe I can go in there preliminarily and set up a date for the whatever Dimitri's name is, the magnet, to open a safe box account. And while I'm there, I can maybe look around what we would need to, what kind of obstacles I would expect, and how to best get away from this place. So that's probably what I'm doing. And
okay.
And the way I'm doing this is like I'm telling them that the magnet is very, very interested in security, and then I'll try to get somebody to show me around and show me stuff, because I'm very nervous. It's a new job and I have to impress this guy. He's a very authoritarian guy, and I'm kind of a bit scared of him. I don't know him very well, but whew.
And do you have ID, Dylan?
Yes.
Because they're going to want some proof of ID here, aren't they?
Yeah, I think I have ID. I guess I can take it to contact for having ID here, right?
You can.
Okay, I think that it kind of follows that Dylan would have an ID guy or gal.
Fine. I think in the contact list it's called a cobbler.
Yeah, that's nice. Shoes are very nice as well. But I like papers for this, and then they need a name, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And
then we'll have, that will provide you. I'm happy for that to provide an identity for both you and Dimitri. In the time scale, this is not going to be a very deep one, but it will provide you with an appropriate passport to prove, that you are who you say you are. And perhaps a letter of authority with some kind of letterhead on it that gives them some impression that Dimitri is actually a big wheel.
Yes, I think her name is Jacqueline Duchemin, and she's French originally, but or maybe Swiss. She's Swiss, from the French part of Switzerland.
And so yeah, she provides these, but she warns you that these are very shallow. Give her another 48, 72 hours, and this would stand up to really intense scrutiny. But as it is, it will stand up to a reasonable level of scrutiny and should get you an appointment with the under manager, the assistant manager at Erste Bank. And I think the under manager is called Klaus Werner. And Klaus is the appointment you've set up. Is he's well, we're very interested in broadening the base of our clientele, and yes, certainly we can demonstrate the level of security here. Now, just out of character, remember that you will set the obstacles that you will encounter. So I'll abstract this. I'm not going to at this point describe everything, because I'm going to come back to you lot for that. You're going to do the work. I'm not going to do the work. But it does seem to me that we will boil this down to a role to investigate, and that will maybe give you something to hang your approach on. Does that seem fair?
That seems fair, yes. So do I roll it now, or
well, I think he does the tour.
Dice
he
roll.
will show you where the safe deposit boxes are, where the vault is. So roll the dice.
Yeah, I would if I knew where they were.
Oh, sorry. The link is on the same tab as the bank prep.
Oh, okay.
It's hideously renewing dinosaur.
Oh, that one again. Cool. Can I use my expertise in disguise? Because
I think you can.
Pretending to be somebody else. Yeah, so I will.
And your paperwork, I think, will count as the right tool in this context.
Oh, nice.
Would you like to include your stress dice?
No, but I would like to relieve my stress before we go in.
We'll come to that in a bit then. So go ahead.
Yeah, I rolled 6. Cool.
Great. Okay, so on a 6, you get the basic information, which is, this is a very security conscious bank with everything you would expect a security conscious bank to have. I'll leave it as vague as that. But what I'm happy to do is to have you ask me 2 specific questions. Remember, try to avoid asking me questions about what are the obstacles, because you're going to tell me what the obstacles are. But if you want some context for this, then go for it.
I want to know if they have only one room for the safety deposit boxes.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
There is a vault, a subterranean vault, and that vault is where all the safety deposit boxes are. And I think while he will open the vault door, he won't invite you in. He will allow you to observe this, this. And I guess it's not a big room. I'm not imagining it's a vast room. Okay.
Yeah. And I imagine that there is enough security that we can take our weapons in, but that's basic. What I also would like to know, if there are any kind of service tunnels or something that we could use to get away.
That's an interesting question. I think that probably, yes, I'm fairly confident Vienna has a very ancient sewer system. That goes back several hundred years. It would be too much to ask for the bank to be connected to it, but it may be possible to blow a hole between the bank and those tunnels. So there's what I'm going to write down is the Vienna subterranean tunnels run close to the bank vault level, not necessarily the vault itself, but to that level in the bank. Does that seem fair?
Yeah. And do I have to roll for stress because it was a 6?
Yeah, you have to tell me what freaks you out, and then roll for stress.
I'm pretty sure that when we are down there and there is that room and I can't get in, but I look in and there is kind of a weird smell coming out. And I've smelled that before, and when we were at that place where we and not that monastery, you know, with a well, and that's what that smells like, and I'm like, okay, that's
just to help people, we will refer them back to a series of Knights, what was then called Knights Black Operators, which you'll also find in the same playlist. You'll find this in, and this was a monastery with some dark and terrible presence in a sealed well that was being fed innocent civilians. So very interesting. You should smell that. Brilliant. Okay.
Okay, but the stress only goes up if I roll higher, right? Not if I tie.
Indeed.
So I got a bit of a, okay, what is that? No.
Okay. So that's what you've done as prep. That's great. Finally, Dimitri. How is Dimitri going to prepare for this operation, or gather intel, or whatever else?
Yeah. So I think that Dimitri is going to I'm going to call upon. I'm going to investigate the tunnels to see if there is a way from the tunnels. I know that they run close. To see if there is, like a structural weakness that I could exploit to get into the bank from the tunnels.
Fine, that sounds like an absolutely investigative kind of thing to do, so that gives you expertise. I'm not quite sure what the right tool looks like here, but what I'm seeing you is probably, setting up one of those little tents around a manhole cover with a, slow men at work, and you going down into these subterranean tunnels. So I think it's expertise and the white dice. Do you want to include distress dice?
Yeah, I will. Where's the roll for your party, Blink?
Oh, sorry, it's on the same page as the bank operation prep that we're doing now. It's good.
There it is. Yeah. So that is a stress. That is the white die. What are my skills? Do I have expertise here?
You have expertise because I think this is absolutely an investigation, which is what you're good at.
All right.
And later on, I think we'll discover whether your authority carries off Russian oligarch as well as we hope.
Okay. So that is a 4.
Okay, so on a 4, you can ask. The basic information is I think really that you can discover the tunnels. You will know the route to and from the point of closest approach to the bank sub-basement. Yeah? So that's the basic information. Is there evidence of a weak spot? Yes. It looks like either somebody once tried to, how can I put this? Either somebody has tried to dig into the bank from here, in the relatively recent past, or there has been some kind of fall of masonry, because these tunnels date back, some of them to Roman times, I would imagine, and so the masonry that holds the walls up is probably very old, and so I'm going to say that yes, there is a weak spot, either because somebody tried to get in this way before, or because there's just been natural fall of rubble. Okay? And that's the single question you get with a 4 or 5.
All right, that makes sense. Happy with that.
Okay, so I will add to this. There is a weak spot in the wall between the bank sub-level and the tunnels under Vienna. Yeah. So I think at this point then, Dimitri is the one who has a free call on their contacts left. Everybody else will be paying for any contacts that you flash back to. And we've got some idea of what's going on. shall we consider the obstacles? And I will. And now I am drawing heavily from a game called Uncanny Echoes. If our viewers don't know that, they should look it up. It's by Fraser Simons, and it's a 10-part linked campaign using very straightforward PBTA type rules. But the first of those linked sessions is called the heist, and in the heist, I will first ask you. I'll go around and ask each of you in turn. Let's start, Dylan. You visited the bank. Is it a modern building, or is it, one of these grand Baroque Viennese buildings?
I've actually Googled it, so I have an image in my mind now.
Fine.
It's a very modern
I'll tell you
building.
what, will you plug that into the faces and places then? Because I've put a row at the top for Erste Bank on the off chance that somebody might well have done this thing.
I will go, and I mean, it's a big building, really. It's kind of, I think it's labyrinthine. Fits it very well.
It would be really great if you've got an image that we can all share, because then we all know where we are.
Sure, I mean, that is, you had a Wikipedia entry, and then there was a picture. I think there it is. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that looks very modern and very labyrinthine. Let's see if I can put it in there. Image. Insert.
If you put it in the image, Earl, then I can call up a big picture of it rather than just... Because the image will show up in that cell if you just put the link in the Earl column E.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, right.
I'm finished. Maybe it will. Yeah, there it is. Look at that.
Okay.
Look at that monstrosity.
Yeah. Okay. So let me share that and make the screen bigger. Hang on. So this is Erste Bank. Yeah. So it's a vast structure, 8 or 10 floors, probably at least 2 sub-levels below. And that's a rather interesting walkway approach. Oh, great. Okay, so we have some idea of what we are going to rob. Thank you for that. Okay. So that tells me it's a modern building with knobs on. Probably one of the grandest modern buildings in the financial district. Great. So I will say it is a modern building. Let me now go to Mia. What I'm going to ask you to do, Mia, is come up with an obstacle and then describe the space in the bank. And these are obstacles before the vault. Yeah? Leave the vault to me. But describe an obstacle and the location that this obstacle is to be found.
Security systems.
Okay, so what form do they take?
Quite a few. How deep do you want me to get?
Well, I mean, we were talking about camera. Are we talking about, are there
thermal
laser
sensors,
tripwires? Go wild.
Thermal sensors, pressure plates. There's there may in fact be some laser tripwires, or at least a system that when the bank goes into lockdown or there's some anomaly detected, it activates laser sensors around the area so that there's basically a fence up. And if you cross through that fence, then, you're tripping the sensors and alarms go off.
And in terms of where we might encounter these, then, is this at the almost at the kind of entry level? Or is this between the entry level and access to the lower levels, or where? Or throughout?
There is a dedicated security room.
Well, that's where they're controlled from, but where will those making an intrusion into this place, where will they encounter them?
The closer you get to the vault, the more there are. So there's cameras everywhere, but the more esoteric security systems are closer to
Fine.
the vault.
Okay, so what I'm writing is cameras everywhere, but thermal sensors, pressure plates, and laser tripwires located. Get more common the closer to the vault you get. Does that kind of fit?
Yep, that's exactly it.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, let me go to Dimitri. Dimitri, what kind of obstacle can you imagine coming up against?
Well, I think that the bank has a close working relationship with the police department. There are panic buttons. There are cops that are probably only a couple minutes away if one of the panic buttons gets pressed.
Okay. So they will arrive very quickly. Yeah. So panic buttons and close relationship with the police, so they will arrive very quickly. Yeah. Does that summarize it okay for you? Yeah. Okay. And then Dylan, what obstacles do you imagine coming across? And oh, sorry, I should have asked. In terms of Dimitri, when you've been finding out about this, are those panic buttons located, where the tellers in the bank are? So that's near the kind of front end of the bank. It's a private bank, so it's not a kind of turn up and take cash out of the place, but it's panic buttons in the front office. Yeah, okay, because it's a big building, so most of that building, I'm guessing, is taken up with, floor upon floor of investment bankers and traders. But then there is the bit of the bank that Dylan's had closest look at, which is where the client approach, and there are panic buttons all around that front office. Okay, fine. Dylan, what obstacle and where might you encounter it?
I think that obstacle would be Klaus Werner, actually, because, I mean, I might have laid it on a little bit too thick, and now he's very interested. This could make his career, right? So he might glom onto us, and not just him, but he might bring his secretary and stuff like that. So
if I write that Klaus Werner is very interested in the commission this might yield, and may well want to impress Dimitri with his personal touch. Yeah. And so that sounds like that's going to be, at the appointed time, he's going to be in the front office. Does that make sense, Dylan? Or is it going to be further into the bank?
I'm muted. I think he would. I mean, somebody has to go down with us into the vault, right? And I imagine it's not just some nameless, faceless bank drone, but somebody who takes a personal interest in either Dimitri or maybe even Dylan, because he can be very charming.
Okay, so Klaus Werner is very interested in the commission this might yield, and may well want to impress Dimitri with his personal touch, not just in getting the necessary papers signed, but also in escorting him to the vault. Because I'm guessing the setup here is that you are coming with something valuable to put in a vault. That makes sense, yeah? And that's what you're hoping is going to get you down there. Have I got that right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll both be carrying suitcases, not suitcases like the thing you take on a what's the name for where you put files in? These little
Um,
briefcases, maybe.
yeah,
Right?
briefcases.
Yeah. And I think one of them might contain a bomb, but the other one will contain a lot of papers.
Really, really, really valuable blank pieces of paper. Okay.
No, they will have some. There was some have some writing on it and charts and stuff like that.
And so, is there going to be a freak involved in this operation? Let's make it less a freak on site and more freak involved. And for our many listeners, this game describes any supernatural creature as a freak. So it seems like you're going armed for bear. So it seems to me that you are expecting there to be a freak on site. Yeah? Nobody's going to tell me no? Okay, yeah. Yes. Preferably Simon Throndell, because as we know, Mia is bored with him. I will confirm whether I'm going to throw a GM obstacle at you shortly, and we'll worry about exfiltration when that comes. I think that's a good point to take our break. Actually, we've kind of roughed out what to expect, and now you just have to overcome those, and everybody's home free. So it is just gone the hour. Can we say we'll be back in our seats at 10 past the hour? Is that long enough? Yeah. Okay. 10 past the hour. See you here. I can't see if this could go as anything but clockwork. I'm sure Sabine will be back in a moment, but we are at 10 past. So I think I've got an outline for the plan, and this is that Dylan and Dimitri will try to blag their way in and get as far as the safe deposit box. Okay. Oh, but I'm curious, Mia, what plans do you have?
To me, I feel like I need to be on site in the security room to be able to do much good, because a bank's not going to have easily accessible systems that are external. I mean, not a good one with security.
So is this going to be a separate intrusion, or are you going to coattail Dylan and Dimitri and then try to do whatever needs to be done?
I think coattailing with any assistance they can offer, because let's be blunt, Mia's not exactly stealthy.
No, fair point. But put her in a business suit and have her tail along as some intern along for the ride. That's say nothing, do nothing, stand there, and then have to go to the loo, that kind of thing.
That, if we're already going in under the pretense of like making sure it's secure enough for what we need, I could be the security expert.
Oh, right. Okay. So fine. Okay. No, that we can make that work. So all three of you turn up for your appointment at the bank, it looks like. And we know
can we just press
Oh, sorry.
release?
Sorry. I was getting too carried away. Of course, that today, the rest of today and tonight, you are absolutely at liberty to seek relief from the horror. What has Dylan got in mind to just blow off some stress?
Yeah, usual, I guess. Just find a bar, find a guy. Maybe get a room this time. Yeah, maybe get a room this time.
Oh, sophisticated. Okay. Well,
you don't get younger.
Yes. What in my youth was called a knee trembler is no longer a valid approach. Okay, so we'll draw a veil over the details because we're veiling consensual sex. But you will indeed regain a point of stress. So erase a point of stress, and roll the stress dice. Roll the white dice just to see what the consequences of this indulgence is.
I've got a 5.
A 5. On 4+, things go very badly. Agree with the GM whether to apply the 4+ result from verbally abuse, bully, or shame someone, or beat someone up.
I think, let me look up beat someone up. I think I'd like to, to use the verbally abuse, bully, and shame someone. So either there is a consequence for the relationship, but it's probably more that the mission's put at risk because of the relationship is a total stranger, and I don't much care about them beyond.
So what do you let slip?
I think I leave out the fake papers.
Yes.
But I've given him another name than is on the papers. I mean, he can, of course, think that this is just me not wanting to get my private life mixed up with my professional life. But
but you are sufficiently suspicious to be a subject of gossip in the networks he moves in. And I think I'll reflect that by marking the heat clock. just to increase the risk of the conspiracy. They are already alarmed because they've lost Yuri Arkansky. They're still looking for Yuri, and if they can't find Yuri, they'll settle for whoever got him. And they're probably going through every piece of security footage they can find for a mile around Vienna Airport, for instance, looking for any faces that they might track back to the trade reception at the hotel, Dimitri, for instance. So they are looking. But yes, that seems fair to me. Is there anybody else who is looking to blow off a little steam? Mia?
Sure.
What do you have in mind?
Dimitri, do you have any steam to blow off?
I think Dimitri is going to... I think I'm okay with entering with 2 stress.
You could always beat up Klaus Werner if the worst comes to the worst.
Yeah. If worse comes to worse. Yeah. So I think Dimitri will... take it easy, but he won't go out of his way in the nights before.
Yeah. I think to blow off some stress, I'm going to go find someone. And, well, what relieves stress more than meaningless sex?
Okay. So, again, we'll draw a veil over the details, but Mia, you reduce your stress by 1. And then we simply roll to see what the consequence is. So roll the stress dice, tell me what you get. Actually, I think roll if your party is behaving, so I may even see what
6.
You get. Brilliant. So 4+. Things go very badly. Agree with the GM whether to apply the 4+ result from verbally abuse, bully, or shame, or beat someone up. But on a 6, it was really worth it. Reduce stress by an extra 1.
You know, I will not go into the gory details, but he gets shamed for
reasons that we will all fill in the gaps on. Yeah. And how is the mission put at risk as a result?
I think he gets hurt feelings and starts talking to people about this chick that he hooked up with, and just basically talking shit, but maybe someone overhears.
Yeah, and
hey,
the cardinal rule
I have an
of
idea.
not being noticed on and off.
What's the idea, Dylan?
Maybe we picked up these guys at the same place,
And they're
and well, maybe they're talking to each other, so they're putting us kind of together, like there is this connection.
Yeah, that works for me. And it puts another tick in the heat clock. So 1 more mark on the heat clock will move you from alarmed to pursuit, which is, hang on, I think we know where they are.
Alan, just to give you some fun, what if the guy I picked up was actually a bank employee?
That's delightful. That's delightful. Thank you. I shall leave that on the shelf up here, just in case I need that specific. Thank you. And the other thing I would point out in the heat clock is when you enter a new location, I will mark the heat clock. So once the op starts and you start kind of moving through somewhere, heat will begin to tick up. So Erste Bank will count as a location, and so will the vault. Okay, just so we are clear why I will start moving the clock up. Of course, you could do some stuff between now and then that would get us there before I need that, but let's see where we go. So now then, I can cut to your appointment at Erste Bank, and I'm seeing, yeah, Dimitri. What tells you that this place deals with a very select clientele? When you come through the doors,
I think so. The front, is all this like big floor-to-ceiling glass, tinted glass panes. But inside, I think there is, a long carpet and all these just like very clearly expensive, clean lined like leather couches and sitting areas, with chrome and glass and dark wood. It is clearly a very upper class establishment.
Very expensive, this furniture, yeah, and it looks like you could seat 30 people in this vast vestibule, but there's no way this place ever has 30 people sitting here. People come in twos and threes, and so there's a very nice desk with a receptionist, a guy behind the desk, and he, Dylan, I'm assuming you're at the sharp end on this, given your kind of expertise. And so I'm seeing Dylan telling him who you're here to see, and he says, "Oh yes, Mr. Werner himself will is going to come down and see you. Please take a seat." And you have all of these couches to choose. Each of you gets a couch if you want it. Mia, what's the first thing you notice here?
The cameras. They're watching us even in this room.
Yeah, there's very good coverage even at this front vestibule. Yeah. Dylan, what tells you that not all the business done here is necessarily above board, that they take the private banking bit of this very seriously?
It's a private, you said it, it's a private bank. That kind of goes with the territory. I mean, what you probably will see is people in very, very fancy suits, and some of them look like they're lawyers or bankers themselves, and some of them, they don't look like that. They have a look in their eyes, and you can kind of see that these guys, you might not see their guns, but you can be very sure that they're there.
Yeah, yes. In fact, let's have Klaus Werner see the previous set of clients off the premises, and you do see these very, very elegantly, Italian shoes, Italian suits, but with that very discreet but noticeable bulge under the armpit of members of the entourage. I should just check exactly how encumbered you all are. Now, I'm just checking in. I think that what I'm seeing at the minute is Dimitri and Dylan are lightly encumbered. It looks like, Mia, at the minute, have you gone for heavy encumbered? Heavy load?
Well, of course, if I'm supposed to be checking out the security in this place.
Okay, so
I have my briefcase, I have a little bag of tools. It's all very obvious.
So you actually probably you do have one of those kind of pilot bags on a trundle. Mm-hmm. That has necessary stuff in it. Okay.
If I carry a large briefcase with lots of what looks like lots of paperwork, can I rock the medium encumber, or is that still light?
I think medium for you will look suspicious.
Okay, then I'll leave it off. Yeah. Then I'm staying light.
Because the bottom line is, if you're lightly loaded, you look like just any member of the public. If you're medium loaded, you look, more encumbered. Are you coming off a shopping trip? If you're heavy loaded, then you look professional. But I think that's perhaps what Mia is trying to carry off here in terms of the role she's aspiring to. And that you can select, whatever you need from the equipment list, or the ones that we've invented already, as you would wish. Okay, so and then Klaus Werner comes up to Dylan, and for the purposes of this, I know you're using cover identities, but we'll just get confused. So he will come up and say, Herr Herbst, I'm so glad you could come. Perhaps you could introduce me?
Yeah, I will introduce him to Mr. Korzakov, for lack of a better name.
Now we know that Dylan did well on when he arrived at the bank and was successful in creating this identity for himself as assistant / secretary. But I think we do need to know, Dimitri, how well you carry off the young Russian oligarch. So I think this is a role to do something else, but I think it is well. Actually, I tell you what. Let's use roll to avoid detection. If your cover falters or you are at risk of exposure, yeah. So you'll roll the white dice. I think I'm prepared to let you use that authority expertise to just, you're not pretending. You're just being brusque with him. Does that?
Yeah, I would be happy to take that.
And then I'm not seeing that. I don't think the right tool works here yet. We have ID for all of you, don't we? So yeah. I'll give you the right tool for ID, because I think he will then take you over to the receptionist and she will just photocopy pages from your passports. He explains that we take copies of everyone's passports on entry, simply so that we have an absolutely, you will understand that we are very select. No one gets through the doors unless they are who they say they are. So I'll give you the right tool as well, but I will ask you, do you want to include a stress dice?
This seems like something I really don't want to fail. So I will include a stress die in that.
Go for it.
And that is a 5.
Okay, so 4+. Your cover holds, or you don't attract any unwanted attention. So that's fine. Dimitri, you are Mr. Korsakov, the Russian oligarch. And I think that between you, I'm not going to make Mia roll for that, because I think that then, Dylan or Dimitri say, and this is our security consultant. And Dylan, presumably you primed him to know that you were going to insist on checking the nature of the digital security as well as the physical security that you checked yesterday. Is that fair? Dylan? Is that fair? Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to find my mute button here. So.
Okay. Okay. So he has a couple of attendants with him, and also a guy with glasses and a not quite as good suit. Or it's maybe a good suit, but he doesn't wear it as well. And I think that he is there to babysit Mia. And so he will explain that Peter here is our senior digital security advisor, consultant, and he will take Ms. Smith to just run her through the various security protocols we have available. Is that agreeable? He looks to Dimitri. Very good, very good. So if we all go up to my office, we'll get the paperwork started, and then hopefully Miss Smith will be satisfied with what she finds. And so up you go to the 7th floor, corner office overlooking the financial district of Vienna. But that's where Peter will lead Mia off to a different bit of this floor. So Mia, let's follow you. What worries you about Peter?
He's been trained.
Yeah,
he's clearly a professional with high-end training, specialized training. It's hard to tell where from, but if it comes down to a fight, he's going to be a problem.
Okay. Oh, do you mean training in the sense of physical, or in terms of his professional expertise as a security consultant, a digital security consultant?
Oh, he's been trained as a security consultant, but I mean,
okay.
No, my concern is if it comes down to a fight, I might have to do some serious damage to this guy. This might not just be a simple put him on his knees and knock him in the head thing.
Okay. And so he will take you into a conference room, and then he'll proceed to go through a 20-minute presentation about the various levels of security, at which you can ask him all kinds of questions that you like. And I'm not going to make you roll for that because you will know all the right questions. But it is clear that he's knowledgeable, he's professional, and yeah, he probably works out, I think, as you assess him. How does the rest of that scene go?
Well, not well for him, because every time he mentions something, I ask him why the bank hasn't upgraded to this, why the bank is still using that deprecated software that has been end of lifed, why they haven't changed this protocol to industry best practices and standards. So I am basically challenging him at every turn and showing the inadequacy of the bank's security systems and demanding to see exactly what it is so that I can properly assess it, because clearly their security systems are not state of the art.
Okay, so in effect, you're trying to intimidate him into showing you the goods.
Yes.
Okay, well, I think this is a role to do something else, to successfully get him to react to this, to manipulate him in this way. I think that your cryptography and your digital intrusion and your CIA experience all means you have expertise. I'm struggling to see a little bit what the right tool is at this point.
Unless you're going to let me bring my laptop into it and
Well,
start pulling up like schematics of these systems and how they've been flawed or how they've been compromised.
Fine. Add a laptop to your equipment load, and you can indeed do that thing. Have I put a laptop in the equipment list? I can't remember.
Well, let's find out real quick. Laptop, tablet, digital intrusion. There
you go. Mark 1 load. And so, yeah, I'll give you the right tool then for that job. Do you want to include your stress dice?
Of course I want to include my stress die. I want to make sure this goes off without a hitch.
Go for it. Roll all 4 dice.
6 on expertise. I mean, it flipped and I was like, oh man, I'm going to lose the 5. I'm okay with that flip.
Yes, sometimes Roll for Your Party does the right thing. So that goes brilliantly. He is clearly flat-footed about this and says, "Oh, okay, just wait a moment." And he goes to get his laptop, and we'll plug it into the network here, and he'll just run you through the advantages of using this software you're concerned about in the context of the bank's overall security protocols. What other advantage do you want with a 6?
Well, if he's going to plug his laptop in, I think that will give me...
First of all, he leaves the room to get his laptop.
And I think this allows me to actually hook into the bank's hard line. And considering that I've already challenged him about all this stuff, is it too much to say that I've developed software to take advantage of these exploits and can put it into the system?
I think, we're not going to worry about whether, he's told you what he's got. You didn't know what he's got, so it's difficult to prep for it unless you want a flashback for that. But I don't think you need to do that. I think you just have a gizmo. In these movies, the tech wizard always has a gizmo that plugs into somewhere, which is reasonably out of sight, but not entirely out of sight, because we have to know that the gizmo might be discovered.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very happy for you to just, whap some kind of wireless gizmo onto some, Cat 5 plug or whatever.
You got it.
And so you now have access to this system. It's as though you are on site. But you will now have to spend a little bit of time with him while he, his normal 20-minute presentation was blown out of the water after 10. You're now going to need 30 minutes in order to just, have him slog through the detail.
I relay that to the team.
Yeah, because you all have those tiny invisible earbuds. But on a 6, you also have to tell me what freaks you out or worries you.
The lack of windows. I mean, the front, there's windows. Once you get inside, none of the offices have windows. It's all very dark. There's no sunlight. It's as if they designed it for vampires.
Would you roll for stress, please?
That's a 1.
And your stress is currently at 1, so no stress increase. So a slight worry, but not enough to get your teeth unconsciously grinding. Let's meanwhile cut back to Dimitri and Dylan, and it's a similar kind of meeting. You know, he knows that he got the interview for this job, if you will, by impressing Dylan, by showing him round and all of this stuff. But now, Dimitri, he goes into a 20-minute PowerPoint presentation, big screen, conference room, plush, thick mahogany table, lot comfortable chairs, coffee, orange juice, Viennese pastries, the whole schmooze, while he lays out the advantages of putting your money here and putting whatever you want in the most secure safe deposit box vault in Austria, and he thinks in Europe. Do you have any questions for him, Dimitri?
Yeah, Dimitri sort of leans back in his chair and he nods and he goes, I'd like to see your facilities, please. I mean, you can say this all you want. It's a secure box, sure. And of course, I trust you, but I'd like to see where my things would be stored if I did agree to this deal.
And he looks slightly worried, Dylan. He was hoping that at the end of this presentation, papers would be signed, that we would be, you know, and he said, and I thought we might, you know, if we could sign you up to the bank, then not only could I show you the facilities, but you could use them.
Dimitri thinks about it. He goes, all right, here, hand me over that form. And he signs the contract with his fake name and his, you know, fake social security number, whatever the Russian equivalent of that is. And he passes it back across the table. Probably.
And I look very worried when Klaus is saying that. I look very worried for him, and very relieved when Dimitri chooses to sign. Like, whew, you dodged a bullet here, friend.
And Klaus is kind of slightly surprised because he was expecting to have to do much more spiel and all of that. But he says, right, let me get some fresh coffee and then I will take you down to the vault. And he gestures to Dylan to just join him. Please, could you help me, Mr. Herbst, just with the coffee?
Yeah. Sure.
And he says, I thought I'd blown it badly then. Is it going well? I don't quite know how to read him.
It's hard to read him. He's very hard. I haven't figured him out. I said I didn't know him, but I thought this could have gone 2 ways. You were lucky here.
Well, you know, is there anything that I need to know in terms of how to play?
Don't push it.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Oh, and also he doesn't like being surrounded by so many people. I know that for a fact.
Well, I have to say, I was slightly surprised that you didn't come with a greater entourage. Normally, we expect three or four, you know, close protection people.
Yeah, I know, but he doesn't. As I said, he doesn't like having many people around him. That just Miss Smith and me. That's probably mostly the top. Sometimes we have a lawyer with us. That's it.
Then I think that what you need to do is to convince him that maybe only he needs to take you down to the vault.
Oh yes,
I think that's where you're going with this.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with this.
And I think your smooth people skills certainly give you expertise. I really am struggling for the right tool here.
No, I don't need the right tool, but I will use my stress here.
Okay.
Oh, I've got a 6 on my expertise. So the stress is not the highest, so that doesn't matter. But I have to roll for stress because.
So it
The
goes
6.
brilliantly. So
Yes.
so certainly he will escort you down there alone. He says, well, look, I'll take you down. Normally, the attendants, the guys who are outside, normally they would come. But if it makes sense in this circumstance, I'm sure we can arrange for Mr. Korsakov and yourself to have access to the vault just with me. So that's what you get. But what is there another advantage you want for the quality of that bit of lying?
The other bit of advantage I would like to have here is that maybe it's just us who are going down to the vault. So the other guys, they won't even come after us, right? They will stay upstairs. If we take clothes out in the vault and then rush off, there will be nobody standing guard in front of the vault.
Okay. And Mia, this is probably where we begin to insert some flashbacks about when we go down to the vault. I'll just scratch my ear once, and then you scratch twice if you've got control of the systems.
And I have control of the systems at this point, correct?
Yeah.
Then I scratch twice.
But I am curious because he's now embroiling you in this detailed technical exposition about why he's using the software he is. Where are you intending to go in order to manipulate the system if and when you have to?
I think I'll simply excuse myself to use the washroom.
Okay. Fine. Okay. That there's a window of time there, a reasonable time to spend in the toilet compared to the time for them to get to the vault, through the vault, and back again. I just want to put that on the table for you.
I think what I'll start doing is, and if I have to take a stress to do this, I will intentionally make myself start, like beads of sweat start breaking out of my forehead. And if it comes down to it, I'll excuse myself and say I must have eaten something that disagreed with me. Because at that point, they stop asking questions. They don't want the details.
I don't need a stress, but I think I do want to check that your cover holds.
Okay.
So I think this is a void detection. And this is not your skill set. So at the minute I'm seeing the white dice in play.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and add the stress die there.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't think I have the right tool for the job.
Nah, I mean, well, unless you want a flashback to a contact with some medic who palmed you
some substance that would allow me to exhibit all the symptoms of, say, food poisoning without actually incurring it. Yeah, let's do.
That's what the idea of flashback to call a contact is based on.
Let's go ahead and do that.
Just a way to facilitate a different approach or to present you with the right tool. Now, you used your free call on a contact, so you will have to pay a stress to access this contact. Who's this contact? Sounds like that. I think it's medic. I called them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That would be Carla. She and I, had a thing for like 5 minutes. Parted on good terms. Still friendly.
Okay, so Carla the medic has given you something that you now take, because of course this was all part of the plan. And that, you begin to lose color, get a bit sweaty, and fine. So now you are rolling with the right tool, though not expertise.
That's 2 6s.
Now you are simply showing off. So what I'm going to suggest to you is that this wins you as much time as you need. He is so
certainly
convinced.
Looking ill.
Yeah. In fact, he will escort you to the ladies' room and say, we're just up the corridor there. Take your time. You look really ill.
Well, that went off without a hitch. But sixes.
Sixes. What worries you? What do you see as you make your way down this corridor, maybe with a mezzanine over to the ground floor? So I don't know. What do you see?
So I think as we look down the hall on the way to the ladies' room, I see a group of people dressed in dark suits with sunglasses on. And one of them is Simon Throndall.
Of course it is. Count Simon Throndall is in the building. Roll for stress, please.
Yeah, and I only had 2 stress, so that goes up.
Yeah. So yeah, Throndall is here. Perhaps having a tour of the building, given that he now is a significant shareholder in the bank. But he's mob-handed. You know, he has several burly suited gentlemen with him, or ladies with him. And I dare say that you will pass that on to the rest of the team.
Oh, quickly, yes.
While you sit in a stall and begin to do whatever needs to be done to the system. So, Dylan and Dimitri, you are now going with Klaus Werner. One of the attendants remonstrates with him, but Herr Werner, you know, we're supposed to accompany. No, this is a special client. Really, it's a special client. I'll take full responsibility. It's not a problem, not a problem. And so you are in this lift. It has to be glass-sided, overlooking the atrium in the middle of the building as it goes down and sinks into the floor down to the sub-levels. And we go down, you know, 0, -1, -2, -3, bing, and the doors open. What is the first thing, Dimitri, that you notice about the vault? Or the vault sub-level, shall I say?
Yeah, I think that it is clearly built for there to be it is clearly built to have like cover, you know, and places where people could cement themselves if there were to be a confrontation in the vault, you know. And it's probably, you know, they're like disguised in like architectural accents, but I think for Dimitri, who has this spycraft training, he recognizes it as very purposefully designed to have a shootout in here, and, you know, whoever is defending and knows the territory would have an advantage.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm imagining, you know, the slightly brutalist columns that are designed to make it feel like it's very secure and solid, but actually they provide excellent cover for firing positions. There will be a clerk, a kind of under manager here, who manages the vault access, and he looks slightly surprised when Klaus emerges with the two of you alone. What's the exploitable weak spot, Dylan?
Of the under manager or of the structure in general?
That you notice.
Oh, yeah. I mean, besides the fact that there are behind some of these newish wall tapestries, that there are brick walls and we can blow them up if we have a grenade or something. But I knew that before. The exploitable weakness here is that this guy is very, well, I think he's a bit differential to authorities and titles and stuff like that. And I think we might have given Dimitri here a PhD, just, you know, because that Austrians are sometimes, some Austrians are impressed by titles. Yes.
And he says, "Oh yes, I was expecting Dr. Korsakov." And he looks to Klaus, he says, is this a tour, or is this actually to access the vault? the safe deposit boxes for Dr. Korsakov. And Werner says, yes, I've allocated, and he checks the paperwork, box 3524. So if you would, Michael, take Dr. Korsakov and Mr. Herbst just through the process and give them access to the vault. And he says, yes, of course. Do come this way, Dr. Korsakov. And as it's kind of marble and solid concrete, all polished up very nicely. And at the end is this kind of cartoon vault door. Cut to Mia. Mia, what are you doing from the cubicle?
I am looping every single thing that I can so that everything looks normal. So the thermal takes look normal, the laser trip wires look normal, the pressure plates look normal. So whatever goes wrong in there, it doesn't look like anything is going wrong to anyone who's observing or monitoring the security systems.
I think the way I want to handle that is that when somebody makes a mistake, I will come to you and see how well a digital intrusion covers for it. Does that seem fair?
Fair.
Okay. So Klaus then kind of waits in the foyer because he explains to you, of course, I won't come into the vault, the private space in the vault. Michael will take you through. He will show you to the deposit box. He will give you 2 keys that have to be used together, and then you will take that box out, put whatever you want in that box, lock it away, and let us know when you're finished, and Michael will come and take you back out.
Yeah, Dimitri nods. He goes, yeah, this is satisfactory.
He's such a difficult boss. And that's what happens. Michael takes you through. There's there's a digital pad that he has to put up, and that allows him to open a small door, which has a mechanical and then a physical combination. And then he kind of opens this door into the vault area. Dylan saw this yesterday. It's not a huge room. It's probably about 15 or 20 feet. What's that in meters? 4 meters, 5 meters square, 6 meters square, 6 yards square, lined with these safe deposit boxes, with a table, a very heavy, again, mahogany, set on black marble, with a baize kind of felt surface. And he says, so here are your keys, Dr. Korsakov. Your box is that one. The bell on the side of the table, when you're done, ring the bell and I will come and collect you.
And
then he leaves and closes the vault door behind him.
Yeah. Korzhakov nods. He looks around, just a glance at the ceiling and to see if there are any cameras out of his sight line.
There are no cameras here. The security, the kind of privacy is that complete. So Mia, you will have seen them go into the vault, but there are no cameras in here.
We are relying on comms.
Yeah. So
do we even have our connection, or is the vault?
I'm going to allow you to have connection.
Cool. Okay. So let's find the security box that we're looking for.
1247.
So I look at box 1247. Seems like, yeah. So Dimitri, finds the box. They're all in order. So he follows it along. He gets 1247. He gives it a tug, just out of hope. I assume it does not open.
It does not open. No.
Yeah.
So the keys will open a little kind of letterbox, and then you would pull the kind of safe deposit box itself out, and then put that on the table, and then open it. So you have to open this, letterbox about so big.
Yeah. So
How?
that is a wonderful question. Let's see if there are any tools that might help me with this quest.
I remember seeing a kind of flick where they had some sort of gel, some sort of acidic gel that would eat through metal or something like that.
Well, I guess what you could do, Dimitri, is now we flash back to a meeting. Maybe it's a flashback even to friend Charles before he went. No, let's not have a player character who turns up as somebody's contact. Let's have a flashback to a black bagger.
Mm.
It'll only cost you a point of stress.
It would cost me anything. I haven't used a contact yet.
Oh, there you go. Home free.
Yes. Are we still in Vienna, or are we?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to call on a black bagger. In a flashback, we'll say that I have spoken to a local safe cracker, and I've asked, I am going to be going into the bank. I'm going to need to open a safe deposit box that is not mine. How do you suggest I do this?
And do you want to give him a name or her a name?
Yeah, let's say that their name is God.
It could be a code name. Maybe they don't give you their name. You could give them a, I don't know, some cat burglary name.
Yeah, let's say that their name is. I don't know their name out of professional courtesy. I haven't looked into it. But I am aware of them as Herzl, let's say.
Herzl, fine, Herzl. And so Herzl says, well, and he's got a little bag, and he opens it, and he says, well, there's this. And it's a small device about the size of a fist, I guess. And on it, there is a key. And he says, just see what I do when I press the button. And as he presses the button, you can see little kind of spikes coming out from the stock of the key. And he says, when it fits, the green light goes on and you turn it. Simple as that.
Dimitri gives a hearty thanks.
So shall we say that you now have a very specific, because we have a thing called a breaking and entry kit. So let's give Dimitri a breaking and entering kit that has this specific device in it, plus some other bits and bobs if you need it.
Yeah.
And just need to mark up one equipment box.
All right, so I mark that. And now back in the present, Dimitri reaches into his suit jacket and he pulls out, a little cigar case, and he opens it up, and inside is a roll of lockpicks and this little gadget. And he pulls it out and he inserts it into the keyhole, and he twists it, and hopes.
And you could hear this kind of. I think that is roll to do something else, and now you have the right tool, even though you don't have the expertise.
Yes, I will roll with the stress die here.
Okay.
That's a 5. That is a 5.
Well, I'm seeing a 6 on the white dice. Are you not seeing that 6?
Oh no, I'm not. I see a 1 and a 1 and a 5.
Okay, then roll for your part. Ah, yeah, I see it now.
Yeah, it started on a 6 and then it rolled over.
Okay. So 5, that's a perfectly solid result. So it opens. And that, I think, is where we take our second break. Shall we say 5 minutes back here at 5 past the hour?
Works for me.
See you then. I'll just check in if Puckett is hiding there behind Mia's picture.
Nope.
We'll give him a minute. You are rolling, again, some fantastic dice, you know. Okay, we're all back in the room. So yeah, we cut at that point when click, and we see Dimitri open box 1247. But before he reaches in for the safe deposit box inside, we cut because, of course, you now have entered a different location. So I will add one to the heat clock, which means that we move to pursuit. And pursuit means that, and I quote, the conspiracy has enough information to link the potential threat to its operation to the PCs and will want to interrogate a PC to confirm their belief. So I think we cut to Throndal as he's being shown round the trading floor of this bank. Stock traders, and he's being shown round, and he's, you know, yes, I see. And then one of his entourage just taps on the shoulder and holds him a phone. He says, and he takes the phone, and yeah. So at the airport, and you spotted one in the coverage at the hotel reception? Yes. Do you know where they are? They're here in the bank. Thank you. And he turns to the guy showing and said, forgive me if I just need to take a break. If we could just wander around for a little while. And before the guy who's showing him around can say anything, he and his entourage have left. I think probably I'm going to have Dr. Dorjiev there as well, just for completeness. So the audience, and now you, the players, know that Throndal is looking for you. So, Dimitri, what do we see now that you've opened it? We cut back to you.
Yeah, so Dimitri, pulls out the box on its rails. It's a little bit high up. He takes it off. He puts it on the table in the center of the room, and he cracks open the lid. What am I?
There is no explosion.
Wonderful.
Inside is a very battered briefcase. Very battered. Decades old briefcase.
Yeah. So I click open the buttons of the briefcase again with another little tense moment.
You will notice that that there is a crucifix wrapped around the lock. What do you do? Dylan, I've not talked to you for a while. What are you doing at this point?
I'm watching Dimitri, and what I am doing is I'm going to our safe deposit box, and I put some of our papers in there so we can put the briefcase, the better briefcase, into the other briefcase so we can transport it out and nobody will know better.
Dylan is such a pro. The cover remains complete. Korsakov will have a full safe deposit box. So, Dimitri, as I say, there's an old silver crucifix wrapped around the little latch that would open this briefcase.
Yeah, he unwraps the crucifix, and he's gonna slip it into his pocket. This seems like a good thing to have on hand. If this is something that they were trying to keep out of a vampire's hands, it is something that he wants. So he still has his other breaking and entering his other intrusion gear.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to, try to crack open the lock if it isn't just openable.
It isn't locked. It isn't locked. I think whoever put it in here was relying on the Erste Bank security.
Yeah. So in that case, he just presses in the release and opens it up.
I think you will notice that there are faded kind of gold letters, initials on when you open it, and it's KM, which, given that this box was in the name of Kim Philby, might not. KP even was in the name of Kim Philby, then maybe that's not a surprise. So open it, and inside there is a small metal box. Again, it's the kind of thing that someone might have kept petty cash in 1951.
Yeah, I think that this is now pushing my luck, right? So Dimitri is going to reach in, he's going to take out the box, and he's going to hand it to Dylan to put into our briefcase. And just to leave a trail that seems convincing, I think he's going to take the... what is it? He's gonna take the... There's an old... Sorry, I'm just scrolling through this spreadsheet. He's going to take the passbook in the name of Kim Philby, and he's going to drop it into the briefcase that he is returning to the safe deposit box.
And when he does that, he notices, folded up at the bottom of the briefcase, a piece of paper.
And I will grab that out too.
Flimsy, that kind of very old, flimsy airmail blue paper, which has typing on it. Do you stop to examine it now, or is that for later?
I will examine it now. I think this one, it's right in my hands, so I will unfold it and see what it is.
It's a typed letter that starts, "My dear Kim," and skimming to the bottom, it is signed, "Your father, St. John." And it appears to be telling him that what I have sent to you is of immense value, and I call it the albedo. If it is the white, if it is combined with the black, it will become immensely potent.
In what language is it written?
English.
English, okay. Well, could have been Russian.
So I will pocket this note too.
The only other lead that I will put in there for the next series is if you go to my last dig, I believe you will find it. And then you put it away. Yeah. So you have this small metal box, cash box, kind of, and that, and you're putting the passbook back into the battered Kim Philby's briefcase. Yes.
Yes.
I'm putting that back while Dylan locks up your safe deposit box with some papers in it.
Yeah, it's a manuscript for a horrible theater play that Dylan stole from some mark. So,
Mia, what do we see you doing while this is going on?
I'm just sitting in a stall, waiting. None of the sensors have been tripped yet. I have probably relayed that, Simon Throndahl's wandering around somewhere.
Well, I think that I'm prepared for you to have a camera feed that shows him deploying his men to search.
Okay.
And they're heading from the kind of trading investment bank part of the building to the private bank part of the building. And he seems to be making his way down to the foyer with 2 of his men, while 2 or 3 other men and Dorjiev are beginning to search floor by floor. And I think, just for the reasons of dramatic tension, you, Mia, will see them heading down the corridor past the restroom you are in, towards the conference room where Peter is still waiting for you.
Right.
Yeah?
That sounds fair. And I'll just relay the motions to Dylan and Dimitri. Let them know they're going to need the UV bomb sooner rather than later.
Well, we don't know who has it. You may have it. You know, when the time comes, whoever needs it will have it.
Gotcha.
So Mia is relaying that Thorndal is beginning to undertake a search. What do you do now, Dylan?
Well, I wonder if we want to go back through the bank and just braze it out, or if we just want to blow up our way out into the sewer system. That is not very subtle, but we've got what we want. And I don't know if we want to throw down with Thorndal in the middle of a bank.
What do you think, Dimitri?
Because I think the security here would not be amused about this.
You know, this does seem... You know, what if we, yeah, sure, I'm down.
Okay.
So...
Yeah.
We
will have to overwhelm. I think we might have to overwhelm Klaus and Peter out there, because I don't think they would like us to blow up part of the bank with a grenade. But they don't look very tough, so.
If we hide them in the safety deposit room, there are no cameras, so.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how does this run? You know, because you need to press the bell in order to get Michael to come back.
Yeah.
So
right,
what do you do when Michael comes back into the vault and he says, "I hope, Dr. Korsakoff, that everything was fine"?
I mean, let's pull a gun on him. Yeah, I can do unsubtle.
Who pulls a gun? Because we wanted Dylan to get his hands dirty at some point, didn't we?
Yeah, I will pull the gun, and I will tell him to. I will also have a handgun with a silencer on it and things, and I will have the equipment marked. Yes, thank you.
Great. And Michael just goes,
"Don't make a fuss. You'll be fine. Get in. Get in."
Well, he's already come in. He's in the room with you. He's opened the vault, and you've rung the bell. He comes in. That's what he does.
And Klaus is over there.
Klaus is outside.
Yeah. Well, I'm going in there, out there. I'm hiding the gun. I'm saying, "Hey, there's an emergency."
Right. I think that the closest we come to a move here is confront the conspiracy and its pawns, or intimidate.
I think I'm trying to intimidate. Mostly I'm trying to get him to go in and see what's what. I'm not intimidating him yet.
Oh, right. So you want to say, "Oh, could you just join us in?"
Come on in. There's an emergency. Come on in.
Okay. Let's have you roll to convince him using your pretending to be other people, negotiating.
Yeah, I won't put a lot of energy into this, because if I fail, I still got the gun, right? Yeah, I've got a 4. So.
Which gets him across the threshold when Dimitri does what?
Dimitri is going to slump down. He's going to pretend that he's fainted. And that he, a very wealthy VIP, needs immediate help from the people down here.
Well, Peter is standing in the Michael. Peter's upstairs. Michael is standing in the corner of the room of the with his hands up, and Klaus is just coming in.
Yeah. So Dimitri is playing he's playing like he's passed out to try and make himself seem non-threatening.
Okay. And
Klaus
so
when Klaus walks in, he sees Dimitri. He's like, "Oh, okay, whatever."
he looks at Michael and says, "What's going on?"
And while his attention is not on Dimitri, I'm going to grab him from behind, and I'm going to.
I mean, I was going to just tell him to go in because I still got the gun and I'm behind him now.
You are.
But yeah, you can grab him, sure.
I think if this grab goes badly and he turns to run, he's going to run into you in a gun.
Yeah.
So Dimitri, let's try confront conspiracy. Well, you want to subdue Klaus, yeah?
I would like to subdue Klaus. Yes.
Now you all have expertise in fight and shoot, so you were rolling with expertise. I don't think there's a right tool at work here. And do you want to include your stress dice?
I will. Yes.
I think there is the outside possibility that if this goes sufficiently badly, he might actually hit you. So I'd like you to roll the pink failure dice as well, please.
All right. That is a 6.
So on a 6, you succeed brilliantly. And the GM will agree with you what extra benefit you get.
Although the failure die is equal to my highest roll.
It is. So we'll come to that in a moment. But what benefit do you want for this roll?
I think that I grab Klaus, and I think that we're in a pretty small room, and I think that Klaus hits his head on the wall of safety deposit boxes when he falls down, and I think that Klaus is out, at least for a little bit. Yeah.
So whatever he managed to do to you with that failure dice. So if the failure dice rolls equal to or greater than your highest roll 1d6 for consequences, +3 if they are a mook. And trust me, Klaus is no professional. So roll the white dice and add 3.
All right. That is a 3 + 3 is a 6.
4+. You were lucky this time. It hurts, but you'll live. So I think almost by accident, he elbows you in the face as he falls unconscious. But on a 6, also say what reminds you of the horror of the war you're waging. Oh, you didn't roll a 6? Oh, yes, you did. You did roll a 6, didn't you?
Yeah, +3. I rolled a 6. Yeah.
But you rolled 6 your first time, didn't you?
I did roll 6 my first time.
Yeah. So you are going to. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, both of them are 6. That's never happened before. You only ever get to do this once. So on the basis of the 6 that you rolled, what is it that reminds you of the difficulty of the position you're now in?
I think that, when I pull him down, I sort of catch a glance out of the open door to the safe deposit room, and I see, what on the way in looked pretty defensible, and now just seems like a very long hallway full of cameras, which these two men will not re-enter the site of anytime soon. And I get a little bit stressed out.
Roll for stress, please.
All right. That is a 1.
Mr. Cool. Mia, Throndal has now talked to the receptionist and send somebody up. No, she knows Werner's gone down. He and his cohort will head to the lift. And when she tries to intervene, he just looks her in the eyes and she says, "Oh, yes, of course." And he's in the lift coming down to sub-level 3. What do you do, Mia, if anything?
Oh, this is good. Dimitri, Dylan, things are about to get ugly. I'm going to set off every single alarm in the place when Throndal hits the vault. That'll shut down the elevator, and the police will be on their way. It may also notify the CIA, but, well, you know. Just when he gets down there, point the briefcase at him, lift the latch, and duck and cover, and especially close your eyes.
I'm pretty sure that we can't have the briefcase because we've both used up one of our equipment slots. And this thing uses 3, right?
I'm afraid it does.
Yeah, so you've got the device.
You've got the device, Mia.
You're the only one who has the space for it.
God damn it.
What do you do, Mia? There has to be just a moment when Mia kind of thinks, shit, it's with the rest of my stuff in the conference room.
Yeah. So what do I want more? Get it? Do I want us clear and to kill Throndal, or all right, new plan. Same plan as you're still planning on blasting your way into the sewers, correct?
That's the current plan, yeah. You're muted, Josh.
Is there a gate or anything that you can close to keep Throndal from getting to your exit?
Would you say that a sewer counts as running water?
It's usually running. I hope it's running.
I think I might. If you got, I mean, he could run along it, but he might not be able to get across it.
Yeah, I'm thinking. In my head, I have the sewer level from. In my head, what I'm thinking is there's like, the pathways along each side, right? But you would have to cross running water to get from one side of that to the other. Technically.
We might assume that he has a gun, though. I mean, I wouldn't totally say that's impossible. So, and the bullets can cross running water. We should get out of here, unless
the clock is ticking.
Yeah, we need to get him back into the elevator.
We will now see you thinking about what to do as above on the elevator. It's counting down 0, -1.
Mia, stop the elevator.
Click.
Fine. Mia, now I need you to roll that digital intrusion. Now, this is when I, the GM, need you to roll 1 to 3.
Okay, so expertise, stress, white die, and right tool.
Yes.
God damn it.
That is 2 1s, a 2 and a 3. Okay.
No, yeah, it's.
So you hit the lockdown button. Yeah?
Yep.
And on 1 to 3, you fail or succeed at a cost or after a hard choice the GM will describe. You can lock down the bank. But what you didn't realize was the only bit of the bank that doesn't lock down is from the is the lift to the vault, because they can't afford to have people trapped down there. Instead, the panic buttons go off, and they are expecting some heavily armed police people to be outside this bit of the bank by the time anyone comes out. Okay?
what does the elevator do? Does it go back up, or does it continue going down?
It continues down.
That doesn't make sense, because that would trap people in a vault where,
Okay, no,
I'm
fair
assuming
enough. No, you're quite right. You're quite right. It will stop where it is and then begin to come back up. And he will have to find a different way down. Does that seem fair?
That's fair. And for my part, I'm going to say shit. And I'm going to go back to I'm going to leave the bathroom, go back to the conference room, looking tremendously ill, and say, I'm terribly sorry. We will have to continue this conversation at another time. I desperately need to go rest and collect my things, including the briefcase.
Okay. Now, because you're all 1 to 3, I will also mark the heat clock. So we've now filled the pursuit heat clock. The next one is attack. And so, Mia, I'm just going to let you do. You're just going to walk away. Whatever friend Peter says, you're just going to leave, aren't you, with all your kit?
Yeah. And the thing is, he can tell that I am ill. I am pale. I am sweating. I might even look a little green.
But he says, but you hear the alarms. The alarms have gone up. Everything's locked down. You can't leave.
I'm just going to look so sick that what he's saying isn't even registering.
Okay. And make your way to the nearest set of emergency stairs, I guess.
I'm going to try to get that briefcase to the elevator.
Aha, fine. Okay. Well, we did say, didn't we, that this bit of the building is an atrium overlooking reception.
So you should be able to take some stairs down to get it in front of that elevator.
Well, I'm thinking that you could be up there on the 7th floor.
Yeah.
You could see the elevator from the vault come up and the doors open. And you could see Throndal.
And just hit it with him then. It's UV. It's not like it has to be, I wired it to be powerful and area of effect.
Yeah. Now, I think what you have to do is to trigger it and throw it down there to have most effect. I think if you let it go from here, there's lots of shade that he could find. The closer to him it is, the more effective it is.
Like a UV grenade. Yeah. Fair.
Yeah?
Yeah, let's go with that. That's fine.
So, Mia, you've gone out. You see the lift coming up that is coming up because that's what's causing the problem. Mm-hmm. And the doors are about to open. Peter is at the door just behind you saying, but you can't go out. Everything's locked down. And then he sees you do what, Mia?
It looks like I'm fumbling with the briefcase, like I've lost control of it, but that's because there's a triggering mechanism on the exterior. And I'll try to make it look like I, quote on rabbity, like air quotes, dropped it.
Just fumble it over the rail. I've added 3 to your load just to reflect that.
Yeah. I'm saying, of course I'm going to drop this briefcase. I'm about to fall over and pass out.
And we see this tumbling through the air, opening as it goes, and then we cut down to the basement, where Dylan and Dimitri, what are you going to do? The lift stopped and then went back up.
Still need to blow the hole. And I will call to Mia. Mia, do you need assistance? We could do more harm than good by going upstairs.
I'll know in about 10, maybe 15 seconds.
Okay. That gives us time to blow a hole in the wall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's blow it up.
So I think to blow a decent sized hole through this, I need both of you to mark a set of grenades.
Fair.
Yeah. So mark a set of grenades, take that load. Just begin to wish there were more webbing pockets in that business suit. And I think I'm just going to let that happen. You're not under pressure particularly. There's time pressure. But you pack them in the place where Dimitri thinks is the weakest point, pull the pin, and then I think there's an explosion. And not a not very big hole is blown through, but it's big enough to get into the sewers. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we cut back upstairs where Peter is shouting, "Look out!" Because he thinks you've just fumbled something over the banister and the receptionist is at risk. And the receptionist looks up, Throndal looks, and then, Mia, I need you to confront the conspiracy and its pawns.
Okay, so since I'm confronting it with the device I built, I'm taking expertise, right tool.
Yep.
I'll add the stress die.
I am going to make you roll the failure dice,
Okay.
just in case you can't duck and cover efficiently behind this glass kind of balustrade.
I'm going to flatten myself.
Well, let's see how effective it is.
So do I roll both failure dice or just one?
No, just the one.
All right, I'm going to roll failure 2.
Okay. Oh, that was a good result for failure 2.
And 5 on heavy weapons.
So this goes off. On a 5, you succeed with no obvious complication or benefit. There is this kind of blinding light, and frankly, a number of people who work at Erste Bank are going to have some eye problems. There is this enormous kind of flash of light. Outside, arriving police will see what looks like somebody lit up the inside like a football stadium. And you hear a scream as Simon Throndal is engulfed in this UV. And you can probably smell the burning meat from where you are, Mia.
Yeah, it's gross. It's not just burning protein. It's mixed in with just this acidic smell of something. Yeah.
So I am now going to put a tick next to Simon Throndal to show that whether he's entirely gone, you can go and find out. But certainly you saw this burning shape disappearing back into the shadows down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to mark him as overachieved. That obstacle is achieved at this point. We now have police out front, Mia, and Dylan and Dimitri in the sewers.
Okay.
What's the plan?
Plan was to get into the sewers, but Dylan is kind of hesitant because Mia's still in there, and she probably can talk her. We can talk her out of the jail cell, and the CIA is coming. They know her, but I'm asking if she needs assistance anyway.
Be ready with the cover ID to spring me from jail.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Because I think Peter is saying, "What did you do?"
And I'm just like, I don't know. Dimitri told me to carry this for him. He said make sure that I didn't. And I am playing up the innocent, the damsel in distress.
That you are trying to avoid detection when your cover falters.
Okay, I can roll for that.
I'm struggling to see any expertise in this. Mia is wounded swan. So I think you're the white dice. That's all I'm seeing at the minute.
Stress, and because of that medication I got from that medic.
Oh yeah, go on. I'll give you the benefit of that. Yeah, go on.
So I seem sick and wounded, and I'm just playing it all up.
Frail and help me.
And pale and 5 and 5.
Okay, so stress is going to go up by 1.
Yep.
Kind of unsurprising, but I think you've got him on side. So on a 5, your cover holds. You do not have to flee for your life. But I think that you will see Dorjiev and the other goons, or maybe half the other goons. Let's say that 2 of them are kind of just, holding their eyes. are running down the staircase that goes around this atrium down to reception. What's your I'm gonna get to invoke the exfiltration. What are you gonna do, Mia?
Well, I'm just gonna be surprised and shocked. I'm just gonna get taken into custody by the
Or
police.
at least take out the building. You hope.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like that is my path out, because
Okay.
none of these people have ever seen me. They don't know what I look like. To them, I'm a ghost.
Okay. So I think what we will see is, and we're almost into epilogue here, I think, folks, that, that's the point at which Viennese Special Forces Police, burst into the reception, guys in black balaclavas and ballistic vests, scattering, covering through the reception, and the receptionist saying, no, and yeah, I think, folks, unless there is something else specific you want to do, I think we are at epilogue. I think we are. How do we epilogue ourselves out of this episode? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let me start with Mia. How do we epilogue Mia out of this?
I think if Dylan is okay with this, we see Mia and Dylan sitting at a seaside cafe by the beach. Beverages on the table with umbrellas in them. They're varying shades of pastel. There's probably fruit and whatnot in them. Mia closes her laptop and says, "Done. They'll be quite happy in America now. Or at least as happy as anyone can be with $5 million in a bank account. And, well, I mean, they are in Kansas, but at least they have a nice house and money."
With 5 million, I don't think they'll be in Kansas for long.
No, they have tornadoes there first.
They could be whisked back to Russia.
Point being, we did right by them.
Huh.
Now, Mia wrapped Dylan into that, but I don't want to limit Dylan to that as their epilogue.
No, I think Dylan is quite fine with an epilogue with Mia and the sun having an umbrella in his drink, and after she's wrapped that up, and he looks at her and says, "Mia, I think we should go and find you a hat."
Especially considering what happened to the last one. I think you're right.
Dimitri, how do we epilogue Dimitri out of this?
Yeah, I think that we see there's a lingering shot of a street. There's some people walking by, no one important or recognizable. And then the manhole in the middle of the street pops up. And Dimitri and Dylan crawl out of it in their dirty suits. And they get back to the safe house. And we see the new briefcase on the table. We see Dimitri open up the briefcase and pull out this the metal box from the 50s or the 60s or whatever. And we see him finally open up what was in this this box for the first time. Is it the white one or the black one that he has?
He has the white one.
Yeah.
And this is where he opens the box, and there is in some pretty aging foam. There is a vial that glows with a golden white glow.
And you see the light on his face, and you see him pick it up and look at this, this peculiar liquid, this thing which is so clearly supernatural, so clearly related to this vampiric otherworld. And he stares at it, and he puts it back on the, kind of crunchy foam, and he closes the box again, and he slips it back in the briefcase, and just sort of sits down at the table and puts his head in his hands.
And the nature of the albedo, the white, we will discover in a series to come. Thank you very much for that. That was quite a satisfying finish. That was quite nice. Thank you. I would like to have a little bit of debrief, please. So roses and thorns for this one, I think. And you can rose anyone and anything. You can only thorn me or the system. So let me start. Let me go to Josh. Josh, any roses that you want to distribute?
Yeah, roses. Again, I really loved all of the characters that we played with over this. Dylan and Mia, I thought had wonderful chemistry together. I thought it was just, very nice seeing them in this spy drama. And the same goes to you, Alan, for all of your characterizations and for the system, which, again, I am actually very fond of. Thorns, it occurs to me that we rolled very well throughout this whole system, throughout these 4 sessions, and I think that is because the only real failure roll is 1 to 3, and generally by the time you are rolling, you're rolling 3 dice, 4 dice. I don't know because it would. I don't know how you would make it so that way you fail more, but I feel like if we had failed more, there might have been more pressure, because as it was, we all felt incredibly competent, which is great, and I like feeling like a competent spy. But I don't know, there might have just been more interesting opportunities for like having to rework plans on the fly and having to roll with the punches if the system was a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm wondering about the right tool. I think the right tool is very useful for making you feel very competent, but it does mean that you are often you're almost always going to roll with 3, and if you choose to take the risk, you're going to roll with 4, and so yeah, I've written here, should failure be easier? Should there be more failure? And that is what I was wondering as we were playing. You did roll particularly well. There were an awful lot of 6s out there. But it does. I think you've hit on a point there, that there's something about game balance that doesn't feel quite right yet. I don't quite know how to solve it, but I think I agree with the problem. Thank you. Sabine, any roses, any thorns?
Yeah, roses for all the characters. It was really nice to see all of them play against each other. I really liked seeing Dimitri in this authority role, because I really wanted to see him use that expertise. And of course, I love Mia, and I really hope we will get to see these 2 again. Alan, I kind of grew to like the system better because at first it felt very stressful, because we started with 2 or 3 stress, and then we're always just teetering on the edge of becoming totally unplayable, and that I thought, okay, that is very stressful. But on the other hand, as Josh said, we were kind of swimming through these things, and I wonder if you might have some kind of mechanism where you say, oh, you've rolled a 1 on this, now I can add a complication. Hello, a complication. Because I think there's this other game which I played, which I forget now, where when you roll 1, it adds a complication into the whole system.
Well, I mean, in the original incarnation, when we were using operators to run this, every time you fail, I get a complication to put on a shelf and call on later. I think that might be a way to come at it. I don't know.
Yeah, but we failed so much in the first incarnation. I remember that we all had 7 complications flying around, and I think that is quite a lot on the GM to say, hey, and now you've got 5 complications to throw at this character, and you don't really want to break the flow of the whole thing, right? When things are good. And I mean, we had our moment of, oh wow, we fucked this up when we realized we couldn't have taken the bomb home. We didn't have the loan. Oh, hi.
Yeah, I mean that was delightful. You know, the fact that and then that Mia rolled 1 to 3 on the you know, I will be able to have complete control of everything. That was quite nice. But yeah, there's something about the failure. Failure needs to be more interesting, perhaps is the bottom line, and crop up more often. So no, I take that one. Puckett, any roses, any thorns?
Like everybody already said, I love the characters. I wish Bodhi could have been with us for the final session. I love Dylan. I mean, at this point, this is what, 9-10 sessions that Dylan and Mia have been in. So yeah. But Josh, I really like what you brought to it with Dimitri, that kind of almost withdrawn, kind of detached professionalism. You know, like Sabine and I were joking in the chat on the side throughout the session. It's like, who makes friends? I mean, we're professionals. We don't make friends with people on the job. That's unprofessional. We're here to do the work, and then promptly start joking about hats and whatnot. So I really like that kind of more professional air you brought to it, if that makes sense. And Alan, I love your GMing in general. I specifically love your GMing when you are dealing with horror and horror adjacent games. As far as the system goes, one of the things that I was thinking is that I missed that automatic 4+ that was in the Fate system, where you could just say, I'm going to use this right now, and I'm going to take my 4+, which gives me 4 advantages. I kind of missed that part of it. But I also hated just the staggering amount of failure that was present in that game. And it felt like you were tweaking it between every session so it was less brutal. With this, you know, as everybody mentioned, we rolled very, very well. But to me, the thing that I look at is 4 and 5 are the actual successes. You don't want to roll a 6 because, you know, the chance of increasing your stress goes up. You max out your stress, you're done. So succeeding too well has a cost. So what you're looking at there is like 33.3% of the time you are rolling an actual success. You know, and then my math and percentages is pretty crap, let's be honest. So, but it looks like about 45% of the time you are roll at 46, 48%, whatever it is, you're rolling an outright failure or success with a significant complication. And then the other time it's like, okay, yeah, you're getting a benefit, but you're also rolling the stress die. I don't know. I think Sabine might be onto something with Sabine. Was it you or Josh who suggested the consequence on rolling 1? Yeah. That feels right.
I mean,
go ahead.
Currently, 1 to 3s drive up the heat clock. But that doesn't seem like a consequence in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's I'm missing the 6 minus.
I think what you're looking at is, if I were in your shoes, I think I would make 1 and 6 effectively the same, where except instead of you get, you know, what special benefit or advantage do you get from rolling a 6, it's you thinking of a particular consequence for it that is going to make things more difficult for us immediately in the moment. And just thinking out loud here, don't hate me, maybe roll for stress because it went so badly.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe you can make that a choice.
Like, yeah, roll for stress
either, I either have this terrible consequence, or hey, have something go right in a weird way for you, and then roll for stress. So maybe that's a way to go. Because if you're very high on stress, then that is terrible. And I know you forgot a lot to let us roll for stress when we rolled sixes, and I didn't want to yell out every time, because I mean, having a 6 stress is 5 stress is pretty brutal, because you don't want to get taken out of the game because you rolled weird. That's
kind of building on what you're saying. What if it's you take a consequence or you add a stress? So it's a binary decision. There's no randomness to it. It's like either things get dramatically worse right now, or you add a stress because you failed badly.
Yeah, and you know, I think Sabine, you and I have played together. I like the idea of player choice. That there ought to be some choice of direction. So I think there's something in that. Yeah, I'll give that some thought. What I'm finding interesting is that this set of rules also drive my Achtung Cthulhu Dark. Actually, I'll end the broadcast. We're waffling now. So wave bye-bye to the internet while I end the broadcast.